As a nurse practitioner or a physician assistant, starting your own private practice is a great opportunity for us to be able to expand our role and to be able to provide high quality care for our patients. But one of the biggest hurdles that many of us have to go through and unfortunately are stopped by is finding your own collaborative or supervising physician. And there are not that many resources out there available for this opportunity, so I figured I'd make my video on 4 tips on how you can find your own collaborative or supervising physician today. So stay tuned. Welcome back to another episode of Life of a Psych NP. If you are new to this channel, let me formally introduce myself. I'm Darty. I'm a board-certified psychiatric nurse practitioner, and in this channel, I go over several different subjects to educate the public about mental health, ways to improve your lifestyle, topics related to nursing, nurse practitioners, and even starting your own private practice. So if you are interested in any of these topics, feel free to subscribe. Make sure you like this video because it helps me out so much, and follow me on Instagram at LifeofaPsychNP. So, you probably clicked this video because you're interested in finding your own collaborative physician or your supervising physician, whether it's for your new job, whether it's for you starting your own private practice, which is an amazing opportunity for you. So definitely kudos there. But this is a difficult time for us because it's getting harder and harder for us to find a collaborative physician or a supervising physician depending on your role and depending on where you live or where you want to practice. But look no further because I'm here to give you the tools and the tips to be able to find your own collaborative physician today. And yes, it can be difficult, but at the same time, it's going to be rewarding. And at the same time, it's going to be able to provide you the opportunity to practice, whether you're practicing in another group that doesn't necessarily provide you the supervising or collaborative physician, or you're looking to start your own private practice. And honestly, if you utilize these tips and you utilize the opportunity for you to talk to other physicians and seeing what's going on, you're definitely going to find your collaborative physician today. And it's a numbers game. You have to be able to reach out, talk to these people, build relationships just so you can be able to establish one. And I can guarantee you, if you utilize these tips and actually look into it and do further research into it and being able to do what I tell you to do, then you'll get your collaborative physician today. So before you even start looking for a collaborative physician, you have to understand what your rules and regulations are within the state you practice in or for your specific role. So for nurse practitioners, there are certain states out there where you just need any type of physician, whether it's a pediatrician, psychiatrist, internal medicine. So it doesn't even matter what type of physician you are, as long as you have a collaborative physician. But there are certain states where, depending on your specialty, say for example as a Psych NP, I need a psychiatrist above me. So depending on your state, that's the rules and regulations, and you have to figure it out for what you are as a PA, because I'm not necessarily familiar with PAs. These are kind of just generalized tips to be able to find that collaborative or supervising physician for you. But for the most part, make sure you look at the rules and regulations for yourself and what the laws are and figure out what's going to be appropriate for you. I would say contact your board of registered nursing or whatever the PA one is, but make sure you contact them and see what your state requires in order for you to practice. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, I wanted to show you certain tips and tricks for you to find your own collaborating or supervising physician. And I utilized some of these tips in order for me to find one, and I successfully found one within a week. I'm not saying you're just going to find one today, but you're going to be able to find one soon rather than later. So you're going to find one sooner rather than later. And that's the goal, right? It's not all going to happen in one day. Maybe you might find one in one day, but I'm saying it can take some time depending on which route you want to go. So without further ado, these are my 4 tips on finding your collaborative or supervising physician. So let's go. So my very first tip on finding your collaborative physician is asking whoever your current collaborative physician is. So if you're looking at starting your own private practice and you're already currently working somewhere, whether it's full-time or part-time, why not ask the person that you're already collaborating with? Because a lot of the times they're going to be open to it because they already understand how you work. They understand your workflow. They understand how you're practicing. They understand everything kind of in your mindset because they've seen that you've already seen patients, and they're probably comfortable enough if they're already your collaborative physician, they're probably comfortable enough for you to go out on your own. So you have to be able to utilize that, because this is a no-brainer, but at the same time, people are scared to ask their current collaborative physician because you think it's going to be a conflict of interest. It may be, so you always want to make sure you ask your job first, but at the same time, feel free to ask your collaborative physician, because a lot of times if they're willing to do it for this specific role, more than likely they're going to be able to do it for your other job, depending on obviously how much you're going to pay them, what are the specific details, liability, things like that. But for the most part, if they're already comfortable with you seeing patients with them, then why not just ask them, particularly because they understand your workflow and they understand how you practice, how you treat, what your tendencies are, and you can kind of come to that agreement. And if you're already comfortable talking to one another, then it's going to be so much easier. So feel free to ask your collaborative physician already. So my second tip in finding your collaborative physician is being able to utilize the physicians that you worked with in the past. So as nurse practitioners, we had to understand that being a nurse is part of our role. There's some people that get experience and some people that don't get experience. And this is where getting experience helps out so much, because you work with already a lot of physicians. And why not ask the physicians that you worked with in the past, even if you were an RN and in a different role? I've met many physicians in the past that I worked with as a nurse that are willing to be my collaborative physician, and it's a great opportunity for them also. As providers, we understand how nurses work, and we have a set amount of nurses in the back of our mind that we love working with because of whatever their reason be, whether they're a hard worker, they're very smart, intelligent, or very good technical skills. We recognize which nurses we like working with, and if you're recognized as one of those nurses and you come up to one of these physicians and ask, are you willing to be my collaborative physician? It opens the door, because more than likely they're going to listen to you. They're just not going to want to go to or have a nurse go up to them that they barely even know, or maybe don't even like how they work, and ask them, are you willing to be my collaborative physician? A lot of the times they're not going to say no. They're going to say no. But at the same time, if you're a hardworking nurse, or you already establish a great relationship with these physicians, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to land your collaborative physician. And a lot of nurses or nurse practitioners don't even understand how a lot of their work ethic from the very get-go to now can influence their future. And you have to be able to realize that this is an important thing, and might as well utilize all the relationships you had in the past to be able to land this physician. And it's a numbers game. The more people you get to know, the more people that you understand know how you work, the more opportunities you are to land your collaborative physician or your supervising physician. So definitely think about that. So my next two reasons are pretty unorthodox, but at the same time, it works. I've had many colleagues that utilize these two things and they landed their collaborative or supervising physician. And the third one is to be able to utilize LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a huge network. You're able to see so many different providers and so many different healthcare professionals and people in general that talk about where they work, their experience, things like that. And you can kind of vet through all of these systems and see which collaborative or which physicians that you want to work with. And all you need to do is be able to reach out to them. And I know I've said this in the past, but it's a numbers game. The more people you talk to, the more people you interact with, the more opportunities you are going to have, especially when it comes to landing your collaborative physician. And I know I talked about this in the past also about finding a preceptor, and this same concept goes is when you're finding a collaborative physician, you have to be able to reach out to them, and it's kind of not necessarily cold calling, but you have to be able to provide a elevator text or speech or message that kind of gives them a little bit of background about you and make sure you can kind of relate on a certain subject, just so you can have this conversation. And then once you start having conversations and once they start to get to know you, then you can bring up the opportunity. This way it takes a longer period of time for you to establish relationships, but at the same time it gets you in the door, especially if you want to have that conversation. And like I said, It's a numbers game. So make sure you reach out to as many people as possible through LinkedIn and see if you can get your collaborative physician that way. So my fourth and final and the best way to find your own collaborative physician or your supervising physician is by posting a job on Indeed. So if you post a job on Indeed, they're applying for this role, so they know exactly what they're getting into. They understand that you're looking for a collaborative physician, and all you need to do is just post a job, and once they start applying, then you start interviewing. It's not like you have to reach out to so many different providers or physicians out there to be able to tell them, oh, I'm looking for a collaborative physician. They're applying to this job already, and I know so many different colleagues that utilize this and landed their collaborative physician because they're applying to this job. You're not looking for them, they're looking for you, and they've already applied. You have their resume, they have their background, you have their information, and now it's just a matter of choosing which one you want to work with and if they're willing to take on what you feel like you're willing to take on. But at the same time, all you need to do is just I'll have them apply and pretty much go from there. And I know many colleagues of mine have utilized this, landed their collaborative physician, and now are starting their own private practice. And this is a great way to do so. And you don't necessarily have to do too much work, especially when it comes to LinkedIn. And you don't have to do too much work about asking around, things like this, because they're applying to this position and they understand what you're looking for. So this is probably the best way out there. But at the same time, if you don't necessarily understand their workflow, how they work, then it may be difficult in that sense. So might as well just utilize the first one or the second one, that because you've already established a relationship and you know how they work, things like that. But who knows? All you need is this collaborative physician. All you need is supervising physician, just so you can get started, whether it's working or starting your own private practice. So make sure you utilize all of these tips because it's going to be helpful for you in the long run. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I was kind of able to shed light on my tips and tricks to finding a collaborative physician, and I've utilized this method for myself, and I've utilized these methods for other providers that reached out to me looking for collaborative physicians, and I was able to help them land it, and now they're starting their own private practice, and it's just great opportunities for everybody. And I wanted to shed light on it. I wanted to teach you guys about my methods because sooner or later you might be looking for one, and making sure that you utilize these tips, okay? Well guys, have a wonderful day. Until next time, bye!